everyone, and welcome to tonight's all partner training session, which is on summer selling. So if that's what you were expecting, you are in the right place. If you could please mute yourself, just so we don't have background noise. So if you are new and you've never been to one of these sessions before, huge welcome. Well done for coming. I am Lucy and I'm the head of sales and business development for Usborne Community Partnerships. So you will see me on a lot of training videos. And I am joined tonight by Emily Johnson, who is one of our top sellers. Such a good seller, in fact, that she is coming to the Azores next week. And Emily has some amazing sales success all year round, but also in the summer. So hopefully you will come away from this session with lots of ideas about actually why summer's an amazing time to get selling, get out there, have loads of fun with your books, and earn lots of lovely commission to do the things, enable you to do the things that you want to do. Or even, dare we mention, the C word, to get saving for Christmas, if that's what you want to do with your money. So I'm going to talk you through just a bit of a general overview of summer selling, give you some stats from last year, and then Emily is here to give you the real life experience of what she does in the summer, how she sells. I'm sure you can give us some book recommendations, lots of ideas. Emily's very creative. That's going to put pressure on her now, so she'll have lots of ideas for you. So without further ado, the first thing I think you should be thinking about is, what do people need? Because your role as a bookseller, is to give people what they need. And I think in the summer, people actually need quite a lot, which is why I think it is a brilliant time to get selling. So all you are doing is as a bookseller is you are working out what people need and you're offering them the books that solve that problem. If you are a very new bookseller, you don't need to know the whole range of Usborne books. The website has a search function where you can find things. You can search by age, by category, and not the whole point of your mentor, but the point of your mentor is they're there to answer any questions you have. So if you are brand new and you're thinking, I really want to do one of these things that Lucy or Emily talked about, but I've got no idea which books I'd even take, use your mentor, because they will have done it before and they'll be able to advise you which books to have, which books to recommend that are going to get you the most sales. So I just jotted down a few things off the top of my head as quickly as I could, and I came up with the following. Holiday reads. So we have the most amazing range of fiction. If you haven't read any of the Usborne fiction yet, 100% do it. And also I would highly, highly recommend the YA fiction in particular. We've got some great thrillers coming out from the summer. There's a huge YA trend for adult readers of YA. So don't just think about kids, think about your friends. One of my best friends, I buy her an Usborne book every year for Christmas, and she's loved some of them so much that when the sequels come out, she's been like, I need to have that. She's 34 and she's still loving our YA. So holiday reads, great example. Summer slide. There's loads of stats about the summer slide, and if you are a parent that is concerned about like the summer slide for your children in the 6-week-long summer holiday, or even longer if you're in Northern Ireland or other parts of mainland Europe, we have a huge range of books that are perfect for this. So last year I was that weird parent that took a key skills book for my 5-year-old on holiday so she could keep practicing her English and maths. Not sure I'll do that this year, but we've got an amazing range called the Key Skills range. We've got loads of books where your kids wouldn't even know they were learning, loads of puzzle books, game books, and the wipe cleans and all that kind of subtle learning. The phonics readers collection is great. The young reading collection is great as well. Again, if you are lacking reading books and your child is younger over the summer, then our young reading series is really, really good as well. Rainy day activities. If you live in the UK or somewhere like Germany, it's going to rain at some point over the summer, or Ireland. We know it's going to rain. So what can you recommend to people who's stuck with their children at home? They're slightly losing their sanity in the summer. What can they be doing? Jigsaws, fingerprint activities, magic painting, to sticker books to keep them occupied, leads into boredom busters, travel books. I panic buy every year for my kids for a plane, like sticker books, are my go-to. And puzzle books, my daughter, my son's 3. He can't handle a puzzle book, surprisingly. But travel books, like what are you able to sell people to keep their kids busy on a plane or a train or a car? Gifts. Just because it's the summer doesn't mean no one has birthdays or is having a baby that they would want to gift someone for their new baby. Never forget the gift market, because a book is a perfect present, especially if your child is in reception maybe and they've got to go to 30 different parties in the year. A book is a great present. School and nursery leavers. I know Emily probably touched on nurseries a bit in her talk, but lots of schools and nurseries give their leavers a gift. Primary schools, we seem to sell a lot of Bibles this time of year. We have some amazing fiction class sets that they might like to buy as leavers gifts. And nursery, we've got loads of starting school books. So think about, what are people buying from another source, and actually could they be buying it from you instead? If you're the person that sends the email or makes the phone call to the school or nursery, could they buy things from you instead? People that like to spread the cost of Christmas, you'll see from the sales stats later what I mean by this. But don't forget about Christmas in summer, because some people start really early with their Christmas buying, and you want to be the person that's selling them that product. And the final one is transition books, which again, you will see based on the sales stats from last year. So these are books where a secondary school will buy every child who's about to come into year 7 a fiction book. They read those books over the summer in the interim between year 6 and year 7, and then they talk about them when they start schools. So again, the schools are buying these books, so why shouldn't they buy them from you? Using the free books allowance to get them even more for their money, using the class sets to get them a reduced rate. You can do a really, really good offer for a school on books that they are buying anyway, so why shouldn't they buy them from you? Then I thought about, where can you go? So there's loads and loads of needs that people have, and if you are in the right place at the right time, filling those needs, you're going to do really well. An obvious one with summer is just your outside events. So if you look on local Facebook groups, or even just look at the advertising around you, there are village fetes and fairs absolutely everywhere. There are local shows, there are schools having their summer fetes and fairs. So there's loads of opportunities to pop up with your books and get some brilliant sales. Schools in general are perfect in the summer. Schools are definitely not just for World Book Day. You've got your year 6 leavers, you've got sports days that you could pop up on, you've got end of year parents evenings, and you've got schools spending the remains of their budget. So schools have budgets, however small they might be. And again, particularly once the SATs are over, or once the GCSEs and A-levels are over in secondary schools, they'll be thinking about what money they've got left to spend on books, however big or small. Secondaries are likely to have more money than primaries. Again, why shouldn't they spend their budget on you and replenish their libraries with you? Nurseries, if it's a private nursery, it's open all year round. I've got a 3-year-old, he will be in summer, like in nursery all summer. Much to probably his annoyance, because his sister won't be at school. But private nurseries are open all summer long. They tend to be quieter, the weather's better, so actually you going in there might be easier for them because they've got a space outdoors they can offer you. And nurseries have little graduations where the kids get a little cap and gown. I'd have loved to have been able to buy my daughter a book at a nursery graduation as a nice little gift and a present. So again, it's like, just if you're in the right place at the right time, people will buy from you. I know partners that have taken their books on holiday with them. So they've gone to a campsite, they've taken their books with them. I know partners that have organised look for books where you hide books around them that have been sponsored by a campsite because they just thought it was a nice thing to do. So they've gone to a campsite, they've approached the people, and they've hidden a load of books around the campsite. Anywhere you're going, you can take your books with you. Look for a book. Again, there's lots of information. There's loads of examples of these that you can see on social media, but this is literally just, you go around to local businesses, you ask them if they would sponsor books, sponsor a book hunt in their local area in exchange for advertising. Then marketing or paying for newspaper coverage or paying for an ad in a newspaper would cost a lot more money than them giving you some money for books. Then you put in a flyer or some information of thanking them for sponsoring their books. They get advertising, they look great in the community because they're spreading a love of books, and you get your commission for getting the books and hiding them around. Summer holiday clubs, can you do something with them? Baby and toddler groups, a lot of them do shut down for the summer, but not all of them. So what is still up and running? My son does Little Kickers. They've gone through all the school holidays so far. I don't know if they do the summer as well, but just because it's the school holidays doesn't necessarily mean things are shut. And again, online, if you have a customer base online, you are solving their needs. Can you do a live in your customer group talking to them about Boredom Busters or Summer Slide or your favorite YA reads? You're going to have to work a bit harder online than you would if you're just out and about with your books, but it is another way. Like, what are people's needs? And make sure you're addressing those needs in your customer groups online. So there are opportunities galore for you to make the most of. Last year's stats, just to show you what is possible in the summer. So June, the top 3 sellers, these are the figures they had. The top person sold over £6,000 of books. The next one was over £5,000. The next one was over £3,000. If you worked out the commission, I would guess those were school orders. But if you worked out the commission on those, like, think about what that could pay for you. Like, the £6,000 one, that's a holiday, or a really nice weekend away, or loads and loads of trips. So sorry, I'm just trying to see who is. If you can please mute yourself, if you just to save the background noise. But yes, think of the commission that you would earn if you were selling that volume of books. Personal sales bonus, if you don't know what it is, that's when you sell more than £1,200 of books in a calendar month, you get an extra 2% commission. So if it's a party order, you're earning 26% commission, not 24. If it's a school, 22, not 20. So it really is worth kind of pushing for those sales because you're going to earn more money. And again, it's showing you this figure. 70 people sold more than £1,000. 222 sold more than 500. That's a really great amount of commission. And 392 achieved the 250 club. So people like you achieve these sales figures, which means that you can also achieve these sales figures. Then we had July. Someone did even better. 8,000 was the biggest sales in July, which is just eye-watering, really. And this is real life people just like you that are selling lots of books. 77 people achieved personal sales bonus, 93 sold more than £1,000, 499 achieved the 250 club, which is just absolutely amazing. So you can definitely achieve amazing things. Then we've got August. So August was slightly lower, but still really high. I'm really sorry. My 6-year-old has made her usual appearance to my training session. Poppy, mummy is working. You can go back to bed. That would be helpful. Thanks. Right. So August, again, the people that are earning these kind of sales are earning so much commission that are paying for exactly what they want to do in the summer. Then if we look at the best sellers, you can see the kind of books that people are buying in the summer. So a lot of these were on offer. So the stickers were on offer, but again, they're really, really affordable. It's £5.99 for a sticker book. They're really good quality. They're very portable. The phonics readers. So again, these were great for splitting for look for a books, good for people worried about Summer Slide. You've got magic painting, you've got fiction. And I think these fiction sales came from the transition books that I talked about. So some schools have 300 children going into year 7. If you think about the number of books that means, and therefore the volume for you as a seller, lots of things, Snowbook, Anna Lift and Look Diggers. So you are mainly looking at activities and fiction. Then July was very activity heavy. So we had multiple magic painting books, lots of different sticker books. I think this Peep Inside set was an offer as well. So it's worth looking at the offers, looking at the bargains that people are looking for. A sound book and a colouring book. So again, these are the kind of things, if you have on your stalls, these are what people are buying. August is where you see the switch. So August, you can see that the advent calendars are coming through. So the advent calendars started selling in August, and usually we do have new titles in August that are Christmas themed. People are buying them, they're getting ahead of the trend, and the advent calendars are a high price point, so you're going to earn a lot of commission on those. We had a reading library, again sticker books, again magic painting, again colouring, and a fiction title. So lots and lots of brilliant books that were sold, but it gives you an idea of the kind of things that you could be selling in the summer. We've also got loads of new titles coming out in summer. So these are titles that are coming out in June, July and August. So you can see there is a magic painting book, which I think will be really popular. There's a colouring book, so I'm trying to pull on the trends from last year. There's a new sticker book. Mermaid Magic, if you've not seen a wand book before, you guys sell them so much better than any other sales channel because you really need to demonstrate them. You have a wand and you tap the certain point of the page and it makes the sound, and I think that's really summery and fresh. You've got some great new fiction. Cruise Ship Kid, I think, will be good for fans of like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It's really funny. It's great for reluctant readers. The text is quite large. It's interactive, and I think it's just a really fun summer read set on a cruise ship. This one is a YA, so Circle of Liars. I've read the proof. It's absolutely phenomenal. That kind of real thriller trend that is so popular at the moment. There's an new adventure game book coming out. If you're doing any schools, those will sell like hotcakes. And again, great for travel, for fun, for that screen-free time. There's the scratch activities. We didn't have any scratch activities last summer. We've got unicorns already. Now we've got animals. There's a Slot Together Sea Creatures book, and these are fab because you've got all the facts about the animals underneath them. Lots of secret codes I thought could be really fun to travel with as well. You may have seen, if you are particularly up to date with your emails, that we have a summer sales challenge. So you received an email about this afternoon, which has got a lot more information in, but essentially this is a sales challenge that is running over June, July and August. There are 3 tiers of achievement in this summer sales challenge. So I would challenge all of you to do it. Pick a tier and go for it. And in fact, pick a tier, then challenge yourself to go for the tier above. And if you're unsure, get your mentor to work through a plan with you of how you're going to achieve it. The first tier is selling £150 of books. So you have to place an active order in June, July and August. And if you do that, you get this fab World Kitchens Celebrations book, which I think is a brilliant prize. The next tier, if you do £300 of personal sales in June, July and August, you get these 3 new titles. So That's Not My Cat, Werewolf Woods. The mystery game books is a younger version of the adventure game books, which I think will be super popular, and the World Kitchen Celebrations. And if you do £600 of personal sales in June, July and August, you will receive a £50 credit on your account to spend on whichever books you fancy. So definitely have a go, challenge yourselves, because the more you sell, the more commission you're earning as well, which will help you set your goals. So before I hand over to Emily, I would love you all to do the following right now. So there are 5 questions on the screen. I would love it if you could take 5 minutes to set some summer goals now. If you're happy to share them in the chat, share them in the chat, because then it's more public and you're more likely to do it, and your mentor might be on this call and noting down what you've said that you're going to do. So 5 minutes now, please, to set your summer goals, and then I'm going to hand over to Emily. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to think about those questions. If you haven't quite finished, then definitely do answer them in your own time, just so you have a goal in mind of what you want to achieve and what that will mean for you. Thank you to those of you who shared your goals. Oh, and thank you so much to people sharing their goals, which is amazing, in the chat. So yeah, please do share your goals in the chat if you're happy to do so, because I think it's really helpful for other people to see what everyone else is aiming for as well. So do continue to share those. I'm going to hand over to Emily now. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat, because there will be time at the end to ask Emily any questions you might have. So I'll pose them to her. So just as you go along, if you think of anything, just pop it in the chat and then I'll ask Emily all the questions at the end. And thank you so much to everyone that has been sharing their summer goals. So I'm going to spotlight you, Emily, now.
Oh my goodness, that is a big screen. So yeah, I'm Emily. I thought I'd just talk about what some of the things that I do in the summer. So obviously when we're talking about summer, we're talking about June, July, and August. So depending on the month, it depends on how I run my business. So in June, I tend to be at a lot of toddler events. And the way that I get into those is through Facebook or Instagram, and I physically just message them. Or if it's the one that I've already worked with, then I'll just pop them a message saying, "Are you free for a book, lady?" And then at the end of June, it tends to be school summer fairs. So try and get those booked in May time. So I keep my eyes on their Facebook pages or their PTA pages, or if it's a school that I already work with, I usually know when their summer fair is already. So I make sure I book them in or contact the school to get booked in. Or sometimes on like school websites. So if you go to the calendars or the newsletter on school websites, it will say when their summer fair will be. And then I'll phone up and see how best to contact or who I need to contact to get booked in, to book in for the summer fair. And obviously, when I'm at the summer fair at a school event, I always track down a teacher to go and have a chat. If I'm not already in with that school and working with them, I'll go and have a chat with the school or a teacher about RSRs and author events and all the fabulous services that we can offer like throughout the year. So that's what I do in June. In July, it's very similar. So it's very much school driven, summer fairs, like, again, same process. And again, that happens like now. That's what I'm doing now, is I'm trying to get myself booked in to all my schools that I already work with and some new schools to have that nice fresh chat with them as well. Also in July, the toddler groups are still open in the day, so obviously I'll still be booking in with my regulars for those as well. But once the schools finish, things start to change and my diary looks a bit sparse, because toddler events, as Lisa say, toddler events shut down for the summer and schools shut down for the summer. And yeah, you go, oh my goodness, what do I do? That's my main business. So what I do with those months is I try and do a big summer read with my nursery. So I'm very nursery driven in my business. I visit quite a lot of nurseries. And so what I do try to do is to try and get lots of nurseries on board and do a big summer read or a big summer listen, should we say, to get them doing them all at the same time, because they are usually, the private nurseries are still open in August, and get them all doing it at the same time. And then obviously the more that join in, the merrier, because then you can place it as a bigger school order and then distribute those books out to the nurseries. And the way I do that with nurseries is I pop a little letter, I hand deliver all of those little packs to my local nurseries face to face on the door, which is very, very scary, but so worth it. I hand that little packet in with a little covering letter and maybe a template or a leaflet or something, or a bookmark in there. And then I will phone them a day or two later to follow up, because my packs, I know, probably won't be read. But the reason why I still deliver them face to face is because somebody will remember my face and the fact that I delivered that hand delivered it, so they know that I'm local. And on my envelopes, I always make sure that my envelopes are very bright, draw like a rainbow on them or put a sticker or something on them. And when I phone that nursery, that's my reference point. It's Emily. I dropped off a pack yesterday. Here's an envelope with a rainbow on the front. And then they seem to make that connection that you're local, and then you can have a chat because they don't remember what's in the letter, which means they probably haven't haven't read it. So yeah, start that conversation, keep it short and sweet, and then obviously get lots of nurseries on board. And so that's how I run my August. I don't actually physically do any events in August myself, because I just find it very difficult with my child, as we all. But I know quite a lot of my team would go and do market stalls because they are really big in August as well. So market stalls are really, really good to go to. So if you've got like a farmer's market or, any sort of village market, they are always ace because as parents, yourself, you come to the 6 weeks holiday and go, oh, what are we going to do today? So those are really, really good. And we've got a few team members as well that will run a look for a book. And look for a book, that piece of work is starting now to get all those businesses on board to then be ready for the summer. To obviously go take them through to July and August. So yeah, has anyone got any questions so far? What have we got in the chat? I feel like I'm waffling.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so there's a couple so far. So actually, one is about someone that's reached out to loads of businesses and schools, and they've either had a no reply, don't call again. What would you suggest?
I'd suggest just going with somebody else or have a look at your friends list. So in your frogs, for example, if you list all the people that you know, all the groups that you're part of, lots of those people in there will be part of a business. So if you give a letter and get them to take it in, it's not like it doesn't feel so much spammy. And then they can talk, oh, well, actually, do you know the local Osborne rep is trying to do this X, Y, and Z? Or if you're already working with a school, you can get your school to send out. So we do it with the PTA, like with our summer fair, we send out a letter via the PTA saying, oh, if anyone's got a local business and wants a stall at our summer fair, for example. So you could do something like that with your look for a book and get your schools to send that out to the parents to see if they want to donate. But yeah, just keep going and look at your frogs. But we all know, so like, for example, when we very, very first started, majority of us, our first customers will probably have been friends or family. So it's the same thing as well. Like, and once that starts rolling and people start to know you in the community, that will start to build. So yeah, so I would just say keep going, keep
And
going.
would you say trying to talk to someone in person is
Yes,
like easier than emails?
I hate emails. I'm not a technical person. I know it works for a lot of people, but my email just tends to go into the junk email. So I tend to either phone people or I very much face to face. I'll walk in and chat to somebody rather than because they can see you're local and they can see you're an actual person rather than just a bot. I read somewhere on one of our books, I think it's 100 things to know about computers, numbers and something or other, that like 2/3 of the emails that people get sent are bots. They're not actually real emails, which is very, very disappointing. So if you think about that statistic, that like if you are emailing or doing it via technology, do you know what I mean? People are going to be a bit wary. Whereas if you're there face to face, or if your friend is recommending you, it's a lot better and a lot more pleasant for the business because they know that you are a real person rather than a robot tapping out an email.
I think as well, we have to do a monthly course at Usborne, like monthly cyber security. So I'm suspicious of everything now, to be honest, because of that course. I'm sure it's the same with a lot of people. And I guess if that's not working for you, try something else. Like if someone wants a stall holder, they're not going to say no to you because they want a stall holder. So, if you're trying to fundraise and that's not working, do something else. Like Emily said, try the farm, like the market route, try the baby and toddler group, try the nursery to do an actual event. But definitely don't give up. Emily, how long would you say it took you to get established in your community?
I'm not quite sure because I spent a few years hiding under a blanket and just doing it as a little bit of a hobby. So I joined in COVID times and it was simply a hobby just to get out of the house and do my little delivery. Um, so I don't really know because that was like probably 2 years of just faffing about. It wasn't until I started doing stalls really. So once I started doing stalls, people started recognising me when I was out, which is quite nice because I'd be in the library and they'd go, "Oh, it's the book lady." Like, "Oh yes, hi. Where do I know you from?" so yeah, so it's for me, it was when I physically went out face to face is when I became more established and people, yeah, that's all I can say.
And there was a question about, do you mainly do sponsored listens with nurseries?
Yeah, so nursery. Well, no, with nurseries, I do book fair. So at the moment, I've got a string of nurseries that they could fall under the same umbrella for a nursery. But there's about, I think there's 8 of them in there, and they all of them will have a book fair and a sponsored listen, and I'm doing that right now with them. I've got one every week up until well the end of June, and then they will all do their sponsored listen either this month or next month, depending on when their book fair falls. And I do that for that string of nurseries, but then the sponsored listen is for my August because I don't want to do personally I don't want to do book fairs in August, but that's how I get around my August selling is because I've done a sponsored listen. Does that make sense? I'm not quite
And
sure.
if you're a new partner and it's your first summer and you want to achieve the summer sales challenge, what would you say they should be doing now?
I'd be contacting your nurseries 100%. Contacting nurseries, delivering those packs and getting them booked in because you could get them doing a big summer read and then after that has happened or before or what have you, you can be booking them in for book fairs as well. Because as we say, Christmas starts in August. So you could be booking them in for a book fair in August, or you could be booking them in for a book fair somewhere else. But then still do a big sponsored listen, like within those months to get your volume, to get your whichever tier that you're going for. And I'd also be talking, if you're a brand new partner, I'd definitely be talking to all of your friends because all of your friends have got something different to offer. Um, so my best friend lives in Corfu, as some of you may know. So you'll probably think that she's not much use over there. However, she ran a quiz night whilst I was over there. And in true Usborne book lady style, I took the quiz book just to entertain us on the plane. I didn't know she was doing a quiz night. And I turned up and she's like, "Oh, I've got to do a quiz now. I've got like, I don't know what to do. Like, where do I start with this quiz?" And I just pulled it out of my bag and she's like, "That is amazing." And she literally just took a picture of it and put it on her social media because most of her customers over there are actually English. And I've had a few, again, she's got like a little library at her thing. So there's a few Osborne books and I've noticed a few of her customers reading them. So I went around and checked to them as well. But every one of your frogs will have something to offer you. So speak to all of them and find out where they all work because again, you can be going to. I've got another friend that works in a really big office, and she put me in touch with the office management person. So I go and do a book fair there like every 3 months. I've got a lady who works in not an office. She works in a bank, in an office in a bank, and she takes a book box in with her. So that's some of the things that you could be doing, even if you can't physically get out and about. You could be doing book boxes as well. But all of those things, when I very first started, all came from my frogs. There was nobody that I ever contacted when I was doing it, like back in the day, that wasn't a frog that I didn't have some sort of connection with. And then obviously over the years, when I have been a bit more established and have been out and about, my customers have come to me and gone, "Oh, blah blah blah, I do this," and you're like, "Oh, actually, if you'll do that, can you do this for me, or can you send this pack into your nursery, or can you, and you get to know them and kind of utilize them." Because everyone has different skills and everyone works in different areas. that can be
So we've
customized details.
got a question, which is, what do you include in your nursery packs?
So my nursery packs are, they basically have like a, is it called a cover letter? And it basically says, hi, well, for the big summer read, it would obviously have like a leaflet, big summer read in real big bold letters at the top, and then a little bit about me and a little bit about what the big summer read is and why the nursery should get involved. But if I'm doing a nursery pack in terms of any other time of year, it is a case of two, whatever the manager's name is, and then have a little bit about me, the services I can offer, and then obviously my contact details on the bottom as my covering letter. And then so for the big summer read, it's just that leaflet and maybe like, the summer leaflet or spring leaflets that Usborne do, and a bookmark with my details on. But with a nursery, any other time of year, it'll be a covering letter, a leaflet for Usborne, and probably like a draft template of a sponsored listen or a draft template of a book fair letter that I would send out to parents, and a bookmark. I try not to spend too much time. Don't overthink your nursery packs, because with nurseries they are very short on time. So keep it very, very short and sweet, and get to the point. Pop, things in bold for them to scan read. But what you'll find is they'll open it, go, oh, that's nice, not read it or put it down or put it in the bin or what have you, thinking it's, they'll read it later, which they don't. And that's the reason why you phone them the day or 2 days after, because you can reference that letter that you sent them because you've got a sticker or whatever, a red envelope or whatever you've got. And that's a better conversation phoning them than actually sending them a letter. The letter is just because I'm so scared of phoning the nursery, like without any reference point. I don't like cold calling, so that's why I do it that way around. And because I've made that effort of walking around or, driving around and dropping that letter off, they've made that connection of, oh, she's a human being. Oh, yes, she's local. Oh, yes, she did do that yesterday. I haven't had a chance to read it, but she said that she's going to spend 5 minutes on the phone chatting to me now. So yeah, so the nursery packs are there, but they're not, don't overthink them. It is literally just a cover letter of, hi, how are you doing? This is what I offer. Here are my details. Because it's the follow up that is where I've never had a nursery that have contacted me off the back of a pack. I've always phoned them a day after, and that's when they've said, oh, yes, please, rather than them going, oh, this is a nice pack, I'll contact her, because it just doesn't happen.
And then there's a question about, what is a book box and how do you set those up?
So a book box is what it says on the tin. So you grab a nice pretty box or a plastic box or whatever box you've got in your house. You pop a few different books in there or jigsaws or, your starter kit if you're just starting out. And then in my book box, I popped some order forms in there, or I created my own little order forms on there. I had an envelope for money, and like some bookmarks, and some details there, and then like literally a little, like not A3, A5 sheet that just kind of explains that actually this is a book box. You're welcome to browse if you'd like to purchase anything. Please fill out an order form and I should drop it in. This box has been collected on so and so date. And then a catalogue in as well so they can have a little look at. So it's a bit like, again, I don't know whether you remember though, I used to work in a hospital and we used to have the bookman come and he used to just rock up on the cabinet, display loads of things that he'd got, and we used to just fill in a clipboard of what we wanted and then used to deliver it the day, like the week after. So it's the same as that, but obviously you're doing that. And I always send those in with a friend. So my friend would keep an eye on the box, if you like, or invite people to go and have a little mooch around them. Does that answer your question? Who that? Courts? Does that answer your question? Hopefully. But yeah, if you've got leaflets, pop your leaflets in there as well. Obviously, when I did it, I didn't have any leaflets. But yeah, catalogue, absolutely, order forms, and then like a little bit of an explanation on it.
What would you say are your, like, which books will you be ordering in for your events this summer? Like, what are your must-haves?
Fingerprints. I can't keep them on the shelf. Magic painting, 100%. basically any sort of activity book is probably the best bet. And for toddler events and wind-up books, I sell a lot of plain books as well. So when people go on holiday, they're thinking about going on holiday, especially if they've got a younger one, they're very much, oh, it's the first time on the plane. Like, have you got a book about explaining what's going to happen? So the Look Inside Airport and the Poop Inside Plane, those are quite good for this time of year as well, because people are still like in that mindset of the fact that they're going on holiday. But this for the summer would definitely be more activity focused than anything else. 100%. When you were looking at the bestsellers, I was thinking, yep, yep, yep. Also, as well, in August, I forgot to mention. So in August is when I start thinking about grotto books as well. So one of the best sellers was the reading library, was it?
Yeah.
It was one of the reading libraries, wasn't it? So those are really good for grotto books as well. So I would start contacting the toddler groups that I already work with, or perhaps, some of the schools that I work with, or I've got a garden centre as well. And I start contacting them around August, basically to say, do you want grotto books this year? And give them, if it's somebody new, then I'll obviously give them a price point. But then those reading libraries are really good, especially for like, a school, school fairs and things like that, because they're very much cheap. So like the PTA, if the PTA are paying, they don't really want to be paying £6 a book. They just want like a cheap and cheerful little kind of token gift. So they work out to be like 80p, I think it is, which is fantastic for them. And then obviously the garden centre like it a bit more expensive, so they've got a bit of a bigger budget. So obviously I mix and match those, but that's probably why that is a high selling point in August, especially the red box set. And then obviously you've got people starting school in September as well. So the phonics goes quite nice in August as well. But yeah, sorry, I've chatted on. But yeah, definitely activities is what I would be invested in.
I think we've done all the questions. Does anyone have any more questions for Emily about what she does, what she would recommend? It's great to see quite a few new partners in here that have come to get as much information as possible. I do think Emily's point about using people you know is so important, because you've just listed so many different people that have different connections. I know people that work in like hospitals, and again, like I think a lot of people do the books, the borrow boxes. Like offices are great, aren't they? Because if you are again about to go on holiday and you want to make some panic purchases to keep your kids occupied on a train, plane, whatever it might be, and someone's come to your work, would you do a book fair or a pop-up bookstall at nurseries? Can you maybe explain the difference and like how many books you think you would need to take to those kind of things, and like how you run them?
Yeah, so the difference between a book fair, so I call them book fairs at nurseries, but they're not proper book fairs. So book fairs with schools are where you'll go for the day and the children will come and see you and look through the books and create wish lists. And then obviously the parents will be invited back and obviously purchase any books or order any books that they want there and then. A nursery is basically like a pop-up bookstore. So I go on their busiest pickup times. Obviously they get the same letters and all that jazz, but literally rock up like a summer book fair, or like one in a toddler group. You would pop your books out, but you will have already warned the parents because you still do the letter to send out. So it's kind of like a bit of a mishmash between a book fair and a pop up. But I don't do wish lists with nurseries. It is a pop up book fair,
How
because
many books would you take? So, like, how many boxes of books would you take to a nursery?
it depends on how big the nursery is. So very small nursery, I'd probably take one and a half, maybe two boxes, um, if I'm feeling generous. But for a bigger nursery, I have got quite a big nursery. I would take four boxes, and I will come home with one box. So it just depends on how big the nursery is, and what area they're in.
And which books are you taking that are selling the best, do you think, at nurseries?
It depends on what time of year. So this time of year, it's always the activities. So it's always like the sticker books and magic painting, sound books. Can't keep sound books on the table either. And the wind ups are really good as well. So again, like now, like to Christmas, they'll wind up just fly. Yeah, I think that's probably it really. Those are probably the best sellers, the sound books and the activity books, a bit of everything. And then Don't Tickle as well. Don't Tickle, I can't, and I can never keep those on. But it depends on whether it's more of a baby nursery than a toddler nursery. Again, some nurseries have like different ratios of different children. But yeah, definitely sound books, Twinkie books as well, and yeah, activity books, sticker books in particular. Because the parents don't want the mess of finger painting books. Oh, and the little finger trail ones, those are really nice as well. So those go quite nice in nurseries. You know, the finger trail ABC. So those are nice because they want to get them. They always want them a learning book, but then obviously that sometimes they're a little bit young. But that one's a nice kind of feel where they can trace it, and then it will grow with them. Because obviously it's got all the different characters in there as well. So yeah.
Do you use social media pages?
I do. I have a group, I have a page, and I have Instagram. I do post on them, but as I say, I am very much a face-to-face person, and usually either the customers will be face-to-face, like all of my sales are face-to-face, and then I do have a few customers that will obviously be on my social media pages, and they will just message me as and when and go, is for next week or 4 in 2 weeks. He likes dinosaurs. What have you got? Type thing. So yeah, I think my social media is just tends to be it just tends to tick over. So it's got like I post books in there. I post like when I'm out and about. I'll be honest with you, when I'm out and about and it's anything that's got my face on gets a lot more reaction than when I just post a book post. So yeah, I do have them. So people can contact me, but most of my sales are face to face.
If you were a new partner with limited time to work your business alongside a full-time job, where would you invest your time?
So when I was doing it alongside my NHS job, my time was very much spent on social media and with frogs. So friends, messaging friends, getting to know them, getting to know their friends because obviously they've added their friends into the group. Um, Again, seeing where they work. Well, if it's your friends, you probably know where they work anyway. And thinking outside the box of how they could help me or take boxing or what have you. And then I'm still nursery focused. It used to be nurseries. So we did a whole big nursery, like a run around my area and got majority of my nurseries. And once you've got one nursery on board, like again, the umbrella nursery that I was talking about earlier, when there's 8 nurseries in the same umbrella, they all said no to me other than one. So one nursery said yes, and now I work with all 8. But they had all said no before previously to that one working with me. So I'd definitely be saying ready, steady, listens. Again, with nurseries, they tend to be, I don't want to call it easy because that's not the right word, but they are easier to talk to the right person. So when you are phoning up, so make sure you put your big girl pants on and following up with them. When you phone them, you can usually speak to the manager there and then, and you have a yes or a no there and then. There's no hanging around for, an email that has sent that you don't know whether they've got or don't know whether they've read, and it just kind of floats in the air. You've got a yes or no or an answer there and then. Whereas schools, yes, RSRs are fantastic, but sometimes trying to talk to the right person is a little bit more difficult. So I'd definitely, if I was a new partner, I'd start with nurseries and go from there. Because again, you can do that big summer read without having to leave the house. But also, if you've got limited time, especially if you work at the same time. So I used to finish at, I think it was 3 o'clock. So I could still squeeze in a book fair after work when I was working, if that makes sense. Oh, and the other thing as well, sorry, going off subject here. So when I was very, very new, one of my in fact, my first stall I ever did was a driveway book fair or driveway bookstore. And I literally set a table up at the end of my driveway and just put my kit, and obviously it's got a few freebies as well, my freebies on there, and did a little sale on the driveway in the morning. So when the kids walked past, so people always walk past my house to go to school, when the kids walked past, they all saw the book fair. And then I tapped down and then I set back up when it was pick up time. And obviously told a few of my mum friends to tell everyone when they got to the school to bring, and bless them, two of them had brought people down with them on the way back from school to come and stop at the book fair. And I've got a bus stop outside my house as well, and the bus driver literally stopped the bus with a busload of passengers, got off the bus, brought a book and got back on his bus, and all the passengers were like, what's he doing? So if you're very new, again, if you're limited in time and you don't know, you think, oh well, I can't do book fairs, I can't do this. Make it work for you. Think outside the box of what you can do rather than focusing on what you can't do. Because there's always something that you can do. It's just you probably haven't thought of it in the way, like in your typical way. So, for example, if you're struggling to do I don't know, if you're struggling to do nursery book fairs at pickup, for example, you could do a nursery book fair in the morning at drop off, and change it around if that works better for you. Or you could do, I don't know, gym. So say if you've got free time on the night, you could go to the gym or a swimming pool and rock up at those sorts of places on the night time if that's something, if you want to be face to face. Waffled on way too much, sorry.
No,
What's the
I
next
think that was great. And actually, it's convenience, isn't it? All the things you've listed are about convenience, and you're bringing books to people.
one?
So I live in a village. We don't have a bookshop in my village. We've got a Sainsbury's that sells about 4 children's books. So actually, I would have to drive to the next town to get a book. If someone had something set up on their driveway, or I mean, I don't go to the gym, but at the gym or at a swimming pool or whatever, it's convenience, isn't it? Of like you being in somewhere, the right place, the right time, and serving the needs that they have. So yeah, and there's quite a few partners actually that do pop-ups at hospitals, seeing someone working in the NHS. And again, you could do that in your lunch break. You'd sell quite a lot, I think, in a lunch break when everyone else is on their lunch break, and you're saving them having to go to the shops to get a birthday present or go to the shops to get their holiday books for their kids or whatever they're doing. It's
Also,
convenience.
with a hospital, obviously I used to work for the NHS myself. It's very boring in a hospital. So I don't mean that in a mean way. But what happens is you'll think, I'll go to lunch now, and you'll go to lunch and get your sandwich and come back into the staff room, and then someone will grab you so you don't actually get a lunch. Whereas if you're stood at a bookstore or stood at in the shop or somewhere else, nobody's grabbing you for lunch, and you actually get a full lunch break and get to browse the books as well. So it's nice from a NHS point of view. It's nice to be out of the office somewhere else rather than someone grabbing you and you're not even being able to finish your sandwich.
Who are the best people to contact for hospitals to set up stalls?
So it depends on how the hospital's run, but it would be I can't remember the title, but it's like a community partner or community support, or not support. It would be somebody in the community. If you look on the hospital website or phone the hospital themselves, they'll be able to tell you. In the hospital I used to work with, it was someone in the library. They had like a dual title, if you like. So yeah, it just depends on the hospital, but it was somebody in the community.
And then there was a question, which was, when it comes to events, how much would you spend on items like shelving, stickers or business cards, those kind of things?
Nothing. So when I very, very first started out, I didn't have any bookmarks, I didn't have any stickers, I didn't have any shelves, nothing, like literally nothing. I printed out eventually when I started doing stalls regularly, I printed my own stickers. So I got little labels from Amazon and obviously typed in my details, and printed them out myself. And bookmarks again, I printed them out myself as well. I rocked up with my pasting table that I borrowed from my mother about 10 years ago and still have. Um, so I literally didn't spend anything until I'd earn the commission for it. So when I promoted to team leader, obviously you get a little bit of a bonus when you promote to team leader. I spent that bonus on a table, an actual table, rather than a pacing table. And the boxes that you can see behind me, because they're a little bit more sturdy than the cardboard boxes. But as a new partner, I didn't like go off. Like now, I'll go to Vistaprint and get them to print some stickers or bookmarks or what have you, because I don't have the time to sit and print them. But when I was a new partner, absolutely no way I was doing that. Sorry.
And I've been to a lot of different partner events, which I've been very lucky to do. The majority of partners I've seen lay books flat on a table, and they look really nice flat on a table because the books have all got amazing covers. So flat on a table looks just as good as anything else. Or people will have a yellow sheet or a bright coloured sheet that they've bought from the cheapest shop they could buy it from. But
I don't even have that. I still don't have a tablecloth. I love a tablecloth, but because I do a lot of toddler events, if they pull the tablecloth, the whole
everything comes out.
But if you're looking at your store setup, if you lay a book flat, so that's my diary, what can a child see? Absolutely nothing. But if you stand one up at the back, they can see the front cover. So you literally can just stand them, obviously open them up a bit, so they stand up at the back and then lie the other ones flat. But if you're looking for a bit of height, or if you do want shelving, literally just get a small box, I haven't even got a box with me, a small box, turn it upside down, wrap it in wrapping paper and stand a book on top of it, or stack the books up, and then pop a book, stack them up like that and then pop a book on top, if you're looking for a bit of height. But you absolutely don't need to, as a new partner, you don't need to be spending anything on shelving. I don't have any shelving at my stalls. I just have them flat and standing up at the back. And I do have a rack now, but as a new partner, I didn't. You don't need to invest.
We've probably got time for one more question, if anyone's got one. But thank you, Emily, because you have answered so many questions, and I think there's been so many ideas that have come through. So if anyone has one last question, we can ask Emily. It's great to see everyone's helping each other in the chat as well, with what they do.
Rachel's saying that she used the box that came from Osborne. Yeah, I used those. I still use them now, but I just wanted something more sturdy. But when I very first started, those cardboard boxes, absolutely just took them. In fact, actually, when I very first started, I used to use a suitcase because I didn't have the arm muscles to lift up the boxes. So I used to go in the suitcase and then used to wheel it in and then open it up and get them out. But yeah, the cardboard boxes is what I would use. I wouldn't normally. It's only because I obviously had a bonus that I thought I'd invest in some more sturdy boxes.
So we're going to ask the final question, which I think Nicola is a really good one to finish on, which is, what's your top tip for achieving the summer sales challenge? I'm going to say the top tier. What's your top tip?
Just do it. Don't faff. Don't overthink. Just count to 3 and just do it. So if you're putting something off, so for example, I used to put off phoning nurseries, just press the call button because you're going to have to speak when they answer the phone. Whereas otherwise you're just going to stand there and go, I don't know what to do, I don't want to do. But yeah, just do it. Anything you're thinking, oh, I'm not quite sure on that, just go for it. And as I say, speak to your frogs, especially as a new partner. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Emily. I'm going to stop